What's going on, my fellow degenerates? Week 9 has come to a close. So has the NFL trade deadline. So we got a lot to talk about today. So first off, fantasy football or not fantasy NFL trade deadline. It's kind of underwhelming in terms of fantasy's perspective. Not a whole lot of big trades went down that are really going to impact fantasy rosters. We're going to touch on the few that did. There was plenty of trades that are not fantasy football related that went down. So on the defensive side of the ball, the Jets full fire sale, getting rid of everyone. So shout out to them. We'll see. Hopefully, Aaron Glenn can keep his job for a couple more years. But first off, we have Jacoby Myers moving to the Jacksonville Jaguars. Makes sense with Travis Hunter out for the year. He had requested a trade in the offseason. BTJ got a little bit banged up once again last week, so we'll see if he misses some time. It really was only BTJ and Parker Washington down there. So I know there's a lot of Parker Washington truthers after his 17-point performance last week. That might be coming to a close. Yeah, I think he's an exciting play there. If BTJ misses time, he's the wide receiver one. If not, he's the wide receiver two. Um, and then in terms of the Raiders, I don't really think this changes anything for the Raiders' fantasy outlook. Obviously, Brock Bowers is the guy there. Ashton Genty will be getting his as well. Trey Tucker's the wide receiver one now for sure with no Jacoby, but I don't really think there's room for anyone to step up into a meaningful fantasy football role. Jack Beck, Dante Thornton both had a bunch of hype in the preseason. Hasn't really come to any sort of any substance. So I don't think that's going to happen. They aren't really seeing the field more anyways in the time that Jacoby's missed. So not super excited to them. And then the other more notable move is Rashid Shaheed going to the Seahawks. Honestly, at first, I didn't really know how to react to this trade. Shaheed's had a great season so far down there in New Orleans. The team's a little bit wonky. They're kind of shitty, but I think they got some heart over there. So they're trying. He's gotten a lot of targets, some pretty good production. Nothing to write home about, but like he's definitely like a serviceable flex guy. Yeah, so we'll see. He's going to Sam Darnold and one of the high scoring offense in the league. It's good news. He's reunited with Clint Kubiak, who is the OC of the Saints last year. Obviously, they struggled, but he looks great this year with the new team. So last year, I don't know if you guys remember, but Shaheed to start the season through his first 5 games. He had 34 catches, 60 plus yards per game, 3 touchdowns. So it's pretty good fantasy wise before he got injured and was out for the season. So maybe he can reunite that a little bit with Klubiak. We'll see. Obviously, Cooper Cup is there after JSN, but he's a little bit washed up. And Torrey Horton is a very exciting young guy, but he is a young guy, so he's going to take some time, of course. So I don't really know. Shaheed, kind of a lateral move, could be worse, could be better. It really just depends how all things shake out. I don't think that's like first reaction. This is way better or way worse. And then in terms of looking back in New Orleans, um, I think this will probably just give some extra targets to the guys who are there in terms of Chris Olave and Jawan Johnson. I don't think there's anyone stepping up like Devon Vele to be a serviceable fantasy asset. So yeah, I think things will continue as is, and Olave will just solidify his position, and same with Juwan Johnson. And then, like I touched on before, the other big moves, obviously, the Jets on fire sale. Colts acquire Sauce Gardner for 2 first rounders, absolute crazy deal. And then the Cowboys acquired Quinton Williams for a first and a second rounder, another kind of crazy deal. I don't really think the Cowboys are a DT away from making any noise. And then the Sauce Gardner move just feels a little bit ridiculous to me. Sauce is a good player. He has his moments, but 2 firsts is a lot, and they have a quarterback on the team. Obviously, they want to work out a long-term deal with him. I suppose it's still Daniel Jones, though. He's on a 1-year contract. It just feels like it's all in or nothing on this season. So it could backfire, especially with the Colts' upcoming schedule. They have a lot of hard games. But props to them for making a big move. Love to see it. Um, so week 9, we had quite a few notable performances. Just going to touch on all the big heavy hitters that are not very surprising. Some of them overperformed um, or performed to their ceiling. Some guys underperformed. First off, Brock Bowers returning from his injury. Um, Looked like the same old Brock Bowers, total elite usage tight end. It's really fun to have a team. I mean, Geno's obviously looked terrible this year, but it's fun to have a team that runs through the tight end. We don't see that these much any days anymore. Saw it a little bit in the Chiefs over the years. You go back to kind of Gronk Patriots with Julian and the Misfits co. But yeah, this offense totally runs through Brock Bowers. Amazing production this game. He's just so good. And I think a couple things to note from this game, or at least the big thing to note, I think, is they did run almost exclusively two tight end sets with keeping Michael Mayer on the field. And what this means is Brock Bowers lined up, I think it was 90% of his snaps roughly in the outside or in the slot. So just he's basically a wide receiver. So yeah, he's just a huge advantage in fantasy to have so much upside over any other tight end. So I think his numbers are going to continue to rise. I think it's good for the whole offense. I think Ashton Genty's going to benefit a lot from this. I think Gino has faced adversity before. I wouldn't be surprised if he picks it up moving forward now that he has another target. Yeah, so very exciting from Brock over there in Las Vegas. Next up is Christian McCaffrey, our new fantasy number one player overall. He's up to 231 points, over 25 points per game in PPR formats. Um, Taking down JT. And really where this stems from, which is so consistent and so easy for him to get, is the passing game. JT's been relying on touchdowns. CMC relies on 6+ receptions every week. Much easier to get the receptions. So yeah, he's got some tough games coming up, but they've had plenty of tough games so far this season. They got their starting quarterback coming out, quarterback coming back. Yeah, I don't know. I feel dumb that I don't have a single CMC share, whether it's in redraft or dynasty leagues. But his price preseason just felt so high and like such a risk for me. He's going like mid first round in a lot of leagues. I couldn't pull trigger on it. So definitely regretting it, but it's fun to see him. Obviously, I'm happy that he's healthy for now at least. Moving on, another NFC running back. He actually has more yards than Christian McCaffrey. He has more yards than Bijan Robinson. He leads the NFC in rushing yards. It's Rico Dowdle. Um, yeah, it's crazy, right? He didn't even participate that much to start the year, and these past few weeks, he's just blown up. So um, heading into this week, it was exciting. Dave Canales said that Rico would be kind of getting more of a share, but until we saw the game, you can't really like count it as a certainty. Rico did have a 72% snap share, way up there. He had 25 of the team's 30 rushing attempts, which is absolutely monstrous for running backs. So yeah, that's insane usage. The Panthers aren't the best team, but they are pretty good at running the ball. So I think at this point, Rico, until otherwise proven, is a set it and forget it running back, which is awesome considering you probably got him off the waiver wire. Yeah, so I expect this usage to totally continue. He's gonna have some up weeks like every other running back, but yeah, Rico, huge week. And then moving on, we got Jonathan Taylor. Obviously, we talked about the Colts a little bit. We talked about JT a little bit, but Colts got smacked this week. Daniel Jones had 5 turnovers. The team had 6 overall. Coming back down to reality. Um, yeah, I'm not really surprised JT's production is slowing down in general. That touchdown pace wasn't very sustainable. Obviously, you have a couple guys who can do it over the years. Marshall Falk. We had Sean Alexander back in the day. LaDainian Tomlinson with his monster TD season. I didn't really think JT was going to keep this up the whole season. So it's going to come down. He's still obviously doing very well, scoring a lot of points. But they have a lot of hard matchups coming up down the stretch here in the season. So I don't know. I think if JT's average is a little bit closer to 18, 19, 20 the rest of the way compared to the 25, 26 it was to start the season. And then a lot of running back struggles this week. Next up, we got Jameer Gibbs, his worst fantasy game of the season so far, scoring 5 points and a loss to the Vikings. Vikings did exactly what they needed to force Jared Goff to struggle, which is getting an early lead. Goff is a very composed quarterback. He does he does well under pressure. That being said, when they do get behind, he tends to dip in his performance. It's like really the only time you ever see him lose composure, get flustered, and miss throws that he shouldn't be missing. So that early 10-point lead in the second half, playing from behind, we saw a lot of miscues there. And then another thing that people just always want to write off David Montgomery. Um, Obviously, we all know Jahmyr Gibbs is a better running back than David Montgomery. That being said, they're very different players. They have different skill sets. They do different things. Both of them are utilized great by this Detroit Lions team. So Monty's not going anywhere. Um, the dream of Jahmyr Gibbs, 100% snap share, 100% running back usage, 40 fantasy points a game is just a dream. Some weeks we'll get that with injuries, whatever else, but it's not a normal thing. That kind of production doesn't really exist unless you're Christian McCaffrey. So um, that's not going to happen anytime here. So with the Lions, barring an injury, and then our last running back, who's over the hill here, is going to be, unfortunately, he was a great fantasy asset for years, is Alvin Kamara. Definitely on the backside of the hill. He hasn't missed any time yet this season. He's had a couple nagging injuries. He almost missed this week's game. Honestly, he probably should have with his poor performance. He's just not getting a whole lot of usage either in the running game or the passing game, which is really where he benefited on these shitty Saints teams post Drew Brees. Was at least getting like 6, 7, 8 checkdowns. That's just not happening. So he's just fallen off. Honestly, I wouldn't feel comfortable starting him in any league in any format. So yeah, until I see otherwise, maybe Tyler Shough can turn things around down there, but I'm not super hopeful. Um, so that's it for the last week. This week, I'm going to touch on a couple guys real quick. Um, these guys are obviously great players. They're going to do well, but these guys in particular, I picked out as kind of guys who are going to like can solo win you your week. In week 10, they have good matchups. So starting off is the Bears running backs. I don't want to make a declaration, plant my flag that it's Kyle Monangai over DeAndre Swift, or DeAndre Swift is going to resume his role. I think it will be some sort of split, but I think they're both easily startable this week against the Giants defense, who's letting up 150 yards per game. Monangai looked great last week. He got like prime Derrick Henry usage. Swift is healthy and back for this game, so I could see them having an even split. But I expect both of them to have like great performances running all over this Giants defense, who's been struggling. Next up is two running backs in the same game. Is we have Devon Achane and James Cook of the Bills. They're playing each other. Both these teams are very, very poor with their run defense. Both are allowing over 140 rushing yards per game. Both these players, obviously, we both know, all know, very electric, very good players, no question starters. But yeah, I wouldn't be surprised if they 20, 30 point weeks out of these guys here. Lastly, we have Quinshawn Judkins. He's the exciting rookie over in Cleveland. Feels kind of wrong saying that exciting rookie in Cleveland, but Judkins has looked great so far this year. He's coming off the bye and he's taken off the lowly Jets. So obviously, Jets the fire sale, losing Quentin Williams, losing Sauce Gardner. Things are going to be a struggle over there. I imagine the Browns defense is going to give Justin Fields a lot of struggles. So yeah, I expect a very big week this from Judkins this week. Obviously, the Jets D ranked very poorly as well. So just total no brainer. I could see Judkins having 200 yards this week, being one of the top scorers. So definitely feel very good about playing him. Moving over to the wide receiver side, this wide receiver over the last 4 weeks has had 40 targets, which is second most over that time period, behind Jamar Chase, and that's Lad McConkey. He's the bona fide wide receiver one for Justin Herbert and the Chargers. To start the season, people are a little bit worried about QJ just having a hot start and maybe being the guy there. That's kind of come back down to reality. Obviously, QJ had a touchdown last week, but that's kind of, he feels more like the boomer bust second option to me. Not necessarily like stretching the field, but just filling the holes in the offense. Keenan Allen's also targets are dwindling. His play time is dwindling. He's old. It's Lad's team. He's definitely the one here. They're playing the Steelers as well. So Steelers have the worst pass defense in the league. I fully expect Justin Herbert and Lad to take advantage of this with a big week from Lad. Next up, this wide receiver doesn't have his quarterback, but it shouldn't be a problem, is Nico Collins. Yeah, he's got Davis Mills. CJ Stroud's already been ruled out due to a concussion. I expect Nico to have a big week, though. Jaguars' pass defense is atrocious. And even if they get behind with a backup quarterback, it's good because passing isn't written out of the game script that way. Davis Mills, he's a serviceable quarterback. He's not good by any means. But in this scenario, I imagine he's going to be target locked on Nico as the best receiver by far on the team and just peppering him with targets. Even if they're not all quality targets, he's going to get a lot of targets. So that'll be happy to see. So a big week from Nico coming in. And then moving on is Wandell Robinson. Unfortunately for Jackson Dart, this is really his only target. He's a total PPR menace. That being said, he's also playing against the Bears, who are a terrible pass defense. They just let up 42 points to the Bengals. Yeah, I think Wandell is going to get a lot of targets from Dart. I think I wouldn't be surprised if he had like 15, 16 targets this game. So definitely a very, very strong flex play this week that I feel great about. Lastly, some guys I would just want to touch on. Obviously, once again, no brainer starts. Justin Jefferson, Jordan Addison. They have a great matchup this week against the Ravens. Ravens pass defense been struggling. Their solution at the trade deadline was to trade for Jairi Alexander, which oh no, they traded him away. Yeah, they didn't have a solution. So yeah, I don't know what's going on with the Ravens. Their just pass defense is terrible, 250 plus yards per game. JJ McCarthy looked great last week against a tough defense of the Lions. So he's proven it to me that he's good. People got worried after a slow start versus the Falcons in week 2, but looks like they're one of the best, if not the best pass defense in the league. So yeah, I think it's great for JJ and Addison for the rest of the season to have a quarterback that looks very competent, and they have quite a favorable schedule moving forward. So I expect both big weeks from both of them. Tell me Addison got a 40 bomb, I'd believe you. If JJ gets back on pace for his 20 points per game, I think it starts kind of right here. So yeah, definitely exciting plays. So yeah, those guys right there, I think they're going to win your weeks for you. But that's all I got for now. So until next time, good luck this weekend, and I'll see you. This is DGen Fantasy Football signing off.